Hello everyone, and welcome back to the world of Thedas. Last episode we were in the Fallow Mire. All I did was finish up a few things in the Fallow Mire. I completed a requisition, and now I'm here in Haven, looking forward to seeing if I can actually speak to some of my comrades and see how they are doing, and if there's anything to talk about. I know it's been a little while since I've done a Dragon Age episode. I've been caught up in a different Let's Play with The Witcher, but I'm back here in Dragon Age, looking forward to progress the story and have a good time. So let's get going. While I was here, I did happen to notice there was a book lying here on the ground, and I'm just curious what it is. Construction orders. As you know from the terrible accidents of last week, many passages through the mountains are unstable and liable to collapse at any moment. I do not wish us to lose more brothers and sisters in the search for lost cultist treasure. When we must seal all entrances into the mountain, the Templars have done a careful sweep of the caves. Everything of worth was collected. What remains of the disciples of Andraste will be forgotten, buried in the earth. Once it is done, let us have no more talk of them. This is a new haven, restored to life by the true Chantry, and most holy Justinia V, Mother Florentine. Wow. So apparently there was treasures that were being sought in the mountains, but they're now closed off. That would be this here, I believe. This is the closing off of those mountain passages. Interesting. Okay. Well, I suppose we should get back up to where our comrades are, and hopefully there's something we can talk about. There is a quest here, which is modify some armor. I would like to, while I'm in Haven, complete as many quests as I can. So I'm going to modify one piece of armor just to complete it. Not necessarily because I'm super concerned about doing that. So like with this Orlesian Battle Mage armor, I suppose we can do this. Confirm those changes. And there we go. I've completed that quest. What is stables? Oh, okay, I only own one horse. Oh no, I do own another Frostback Mountain Horse. Oh wow, that's the horse I can. That looks cool. I didn't realize I could do that. Okay, we'll go with that one. All right, Blackwall, what's going on, man?
Make a look at it. So much easier to ignore when it's far away. And to actually walk out of it, to be that close.
Yeah, I was lucky.
If I hadn't been saved by the Inquisition soldiers, I don't know what would have happened.
Inquisition soldiers? That's not what I've heard. I have to admit, I thought you'd be...
Human?
Yes.
Being up front is better than night fear.
It was a foolish thought. Should have known better than to say anything. It's what you do and how you do it that's important. Just one question then. How do you think you fit in with all this?
I like that people worship me. To be honest, I do want peace, but I'm also... I do want peace, yeah.
I just want to help stop the war. Try to put things back in order.
A worthy goal, one I'm happy to support. For me, I'll be satisfied so long as we find the bastards that killed the Divine. They owe us some answers.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that still did not get whatever this exclamation mark was. Do I need to go in here? I'm having trouble figuring out what is this exclamation mark. Blackwall? But I just spoke to Blackwall and nothing happened. Was there a question? Was there a part of it that I missed?
There's rumors of abandoned warden camps all over these parts. If we have time, I'd like to take a look, see if there's anything we can salvage.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about the Grey Wardens. You must know a lot about them.
Ah, the Wardens. I'm afraid we're less exciting than we seem.
You haven't had contact with other Wardens for a while. Why were you on your own?
It's what I've always done. Recruitment only requires one man. Besides, I've always been a loner. Works best for everyone that way.
The Blight's been over for 10 years. What do Wardens do when the world's not ending?
There is still Darkspawn. Just because we kill so many in Ferelden doesn't mean they're gone. And the world is not so peaceful that there's no use for good men with swords. Sometimes you have to figure out for yourself what the pledge to protect others really means. It's not always about just archdemons and blights.
It's not?
So you have no idea where the rest of the Wardens are?
Do you find that odd? The blight is over. We don't need an organized force. And orders don't change much from day to day. For the last 1,000 years or so, it's been just find Darkspawn, kill them, repeat as necessary.
Yeah, that has kind of been like that.
Let's continue this at another time.
As you wish. I'll be here if you need me.
Memories of the Grey. Oh, I have to find... Oh, so his quest is for me to find artifacts, which I have not found any at all. But that was the quest that he wanted me to complete. What is this other little diamond for? The right armor. With the right materials, Haven's blacksmiths can craft some pretty decent armor. Okay. So I guess that would be here. Ooh, very nice. Okay, well that's tier 1, tier 1, tier 1, tier 1. So I assume tier 2 means better. The scout hat looks a little ridiculous. Let's just make something for the heck of it. This is a defense slot. Chance to stagger attacker on being hit. That's weird. Melee defense. Plus 10 health. Let's go with that. So, craft item. There we go. Oh, I can rename it? That's pretty cool. So there we go. We've got that quest completed. It just wanted us to try it out. So I made a hat just to satisfy the quest gods. Okay, so let's keep going then. Now I believe, yeah, Varric should be here. So here's the part where why I came here. I wanted to see if there was anything to talk about with any of our companions.
The Mage Rebellion joins the Inquisition. I've got to admit that's a twist I didn't see coming. One thing you saw in the future worries me. I mean, it was all bad. But red lyrium in Ferelden, infecting people and growing out of them, that's bad.
Yeah.
Finding more of it really punches a hole in my red lyrium at the temple was a coincidence theory.
Yeah.
How long does it take for red lyrium to grow? How fast can it spread?
It took years to infect people in Kirkwall, but no one there was actually ingesting the stuff. This Elder One managed to take the worst thing I can think of and make it worse. That's an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
We can't leave a single piece of that lyrium out in the wild.
I'm with you on that. I've got people trying to find out where the red stuff came from. I think maybe we should make that a priority. But that's enough doom and gloom. You just won a big victory for the Inquisition. What are you going to do to celebrate?
Oh, man. Boy. What am I gonna do?
I was planning to put my feet up, maybe grab a nap. You?
Whatever I do, it'll be as far from Cassandra as I can get. Things should be calm around here for at least the next hour. Take a moment to enjoy it. If the world's about to end, I'm sure the Seeker will let us know.
And I believe you, Varric. So that was nice. We did have a nice little chat there with Varric, congratulating us on that.
It is good to be surrounded by mages again.
Really?
The debate, the crackle of magic, the smell of old books. The breach is a magical problem. The mages will help us solve it.
There you go. All right, Lilliana, how are you?
It seems Blackwall knows nothing about the disappearance of the Grey Wardens. It's a disappointment. I am, however, glad that he is with us, even if he was not what I expected. He seems to be a good man, and his experience will be an asset to the Inquisition. As for the other wardens, I suppose we will have to keep looking.
Anything I should know?
Altegan has returned to Redcliffe Castle and resumed his duties as Lord. The people are returning, slowly but surely. Unfortunately, our show of support for the mages has angered many.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You have a history with the warden who entered the Blight.
Mm-hmm.
I had the privilege of calling him friend before he died. The world seemed much duller after that. It still does.
That was Theron from my Dragon Age 2.
You know Josephine quite well.
I met her a long time ago, but we didn't become good friends until years later. After the Blight, in fact. I'd just returned to Varric, and she welcomed me back by throwing a diplomatic ball. She was the Antivan ambassador at the time, you see. The ball was... alright. Too many politicians. At midnight, Josie and I left to find a real party. We've been friends ever since.
What do you consider a real party?
It's not a real party until someone's small clothes up on the Chantry board. And that's all I'm saying about it.
Okay.
They say you spent some time in Lothering. Did you know the champion?
We spoke a few times. I seldom left the Chantry, and we never became more than casual acquaintances. I saw more of the Hawk twins. Bethany in particular.
Mm-hmm.
She spent time in meditation at the Chantry, and she seemed to like my stories. The other one, the young man, he was a little surly. I did encounter the champion again later in Kirkwall. Those were terrible times.
Was this when the Chantry was destroyed?
No, that happened later. But even then, the news coming out of Kirkwall was disheartening. There were some in Varric who wanted the Divine to declare an exalted march on Kirkwall. Justina sent me there to see if that could be avoided, to gather evidence to calm those agitating for war. I guess it didn't matter in the end.
We can continue this conversation later.
So I assume that little conversation right there was for people that maybe haven't played the first game in Dragon Age 2, and to try to just get a little bit of some of the backstory of what happened in those games. That's how I interpret what essentially was happening in that little conversation. She talked mostly about the things that happened back then.
The Inquisition supports free mages. What's next? Elves running Hallam-Sharal? Cows milking farmers?
There was no other choice.
Oh, there were definitely other choices. You picked the one that'll shock the children. I do wonder if you've considered what this support of yours will do. For mages in general, I mean. The Inquisition is seen as an authority. You've given southern mages license to, well, be like mages back home.
I don't believe that.
It's true. The conditions here are different. Southern mages aren't used to ruling. Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the South. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed, by inches. Not that this is reason to oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. That's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have... I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
It seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
I find it strange that your mages don't rule anything at all. Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
Weird.
I thought the Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new Magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
What is the Magisterium, exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All majors now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
Oh, okay, got it. So Magisters are only those that are on that council.
If you're not a Magister, then what are you called? No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods.
Wow.
If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later. Lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
If it's a fiction, that means mages do rule then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Is that true?
Can anyone be a mage?
Technically, the potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
What the? A quaestor? I don't even know what is a quaestor.
Being a quaestor isn't a good thing.
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
Let me ask you something else.
Of course.
Just
This guy has a lot of dialogue.
is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any Magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion too. Of course, what people call blood magic here, and what we consider blood magic, are two different things.
What?
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and...
Oh.
None of that is done. Not officially. Behind
Okay.
doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
So they actually do allow, like, I guess, minor forms of blood magic in Tevinter, but it's not... They don't consider that blood magic. Like, it's a kind of a minor form of it. To them, real blood magic is the stuff that gives you a lot of power, which they do not allow. Very interesting.
You'd think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. Most of them probably innocent.
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a Magister who makes noise. And then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that Magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Just learned to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
Interesting. So he's like not a fan of the whole thing that they do in Tevinter.
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah, that is true.
And did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
You say.
Well, we don't have slaves in the south.
In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven.
He's got a point.
The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
Is that what you call it? Treated poorly?
Abuse heaped upon those without power isn't limited to Tevinter, my friend. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
That's interesting.
I'm wondering if the Imperium would be a useful ally.
I'd think you'd be more concerned whether or not they'd support the Venatori. They won't. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many Magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
There's an Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine.
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. Yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Is the Imperial Chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
There are circles of magi in the Imperium.
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce the Magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
I really think I would like to actually live in Tevinter more so than any of these other places.
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true divine. The woman sitting on the Sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south, they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah blah blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
So, the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the Sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
Oh, now I have to pick a side? I don't know. I don't like making these decisions.
I'm not surprised. It's not an opinion you should share.
You did ask, if you'll recall. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You are what we needed most at the moment we needed it. That's what they will say in ages to come.
You don't seem like the religious sort, to be honest.
If you define religious as sitting in a chantry and listening to a blithering hen tell you how to live, then no. If you define it as believing in the possibility that something larger than yourself exists, then yes, by all means. The world is bigger than I am, even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe, but I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Okay, so just because it's frightening, then you have to believe it? I bristle at that. I think just because something is frightening, that doesn't mean, therefore, you must believe that there's someone there. That's not how fucking it works. You gotta use logic. I don't know. Anyway.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
Okay, and now there's more.
Have you gone to see Alexius yet? He's in the cells.
Not yet, no. I saw him before they locked him up. He looked despondent, broken. Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to. I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew.
My goodness, look at all of those codex entries. So we just learned a ton of things from him. The Tevinter Society, we learned all of this basically from him. But let's go ahead and catch up on this lore, because even though he did tell us most of it, we should read it just because that's what we do in these Let's Plays. So, Tevinter Society. To those outside of the Tevinter Imperium, it is easy to imagine a society filled with mages and elven slaves and little else. In truth, there are 3 different Tevinters, each of them a world completely separated from the others. There are the mages, the land's nobility, completely obsessed with competing for supremacy with each other, almost to the exclusion of paying any heed to the nation's enemies, such as the Qunari. The well-bred Altists sneer at the Laetans, who in turn sneer at the Praetari. He did say those words when I was talking to him, but I forgot how he pronounced them. They vie for dominance of the Magisterium, where factions shift and flow on a daily basis with deadly consequences, requiring every family to put on a veneer of perfect citizenship or face scandal and censure. The Avvars. Driven across the Frostbacks in ancient times, the Alamari tribesmen split into 3 groups. One settled the Ferelden Valley, one was pushed into the Clorcari Wilds, and the last returned to the mountains. Modern Fereldans bear little resemblance to the Alamari ancestors, and the chastened remember few of their traditions, but the Avvar have changed little throughout the ages. Like the chastened, the Avvar are not a united people. Each tribe fends for itself and is beholden only to its thane. They still follow their own gods, Korth, the Mountain Father, Hakon, Winter's Breath, the Lady of the Skies, as well as dozens of animal gods never named to outsiders. Nothing lasts in the mountains. Wind and rain eventually eat away the strongest holds. Valleys that were arable one generation are locked in year-round ice the next. Game is constantly on the move. Even among themselves, the Avvar make no absolute promises. They wed by a tradition in which the groom struggles to untie a tightly knotted rope while the bride sings a hymn to one of the gods. What? However many knots he has undone by the time her song ends is the number of years she will spend with him. What? Lowlanders often forget that there is no such thing as a permanent alliance in the Frostbacks. That's a really weird wedding tradition. What if you mess up? Oh, man. The Imperial Chantry. There are those who would tell you that the Chantry is the same everywhere as it is here. That the divine in Val Rio reigns supreme in the eyes of the Maker, and that this fact is unquestioned throughout Thedas. Do not believe it. The Maker's second commandment, magic must serve man, not rule over him, never held the same meaning within the ancient Tevinter Imperium as it did elsewhere. The Chantry there interpreted the rule as meaning that mages should never control the minds of other men, and that otherwise their magic should benefit the rulers of men as much as possible. When the clerics of Tevinter altered the Chant of Light to reflect this interpretation of the commandment, the divine in Val Rio ordered the clerics to revert to the original chant. They refused, claiming corruption within Val Rio, an argument that grew until 487 Towers. The Chantry in Tevinter elected its own legitimate and uncorrupted divine Valhale, who was not only male, but also happened to be one of the most prominent members of the Tevinter Circle of the Magi. This black divine was reviled outside Tevinter, his existence an offense to the Chantry in Val Rio. After 4 exalted marches to dislodge these rebels, all that the Chantry in Val Rio accomplished was to cement the separation. While most aspects of the Imperial Chantry's teachings are the same, prohibitions against magic have been weakened, and male priests have become more prevalent. The Circle of the Magi today rules Tevinter directly, ever since Archon Nomoran was elected in 734 Storm directly from the ranks of the enchanters to great applause from the public. He dispensed with the old rules forbidding mages from taking part in politics, and within an age, the true rulers within the various imperial houses, the mages, took their places openly within the government. The Imperial Divine is now always drawn from the ranks of the first enchanters and operates as Divine and Grand Enchanter both. This is utter heresy to any member of the Chantry outside of Tevinter, a return to the days of the Magisters which brought the blights down upon us. But it exists, and even though we have left the Tevinter Imperium to the mercies of the dread Kunari, they have endured. Further confrontation between the Black Divine and our so-called White Divine is inevitable. From the Edicts of the Black Divine by Father David of Cunaris, Carinus, 811 blessed. Wow, so the Black Divine, that's a whole other topic where it's just the differences on whether rules whether mages are in charge and ruling, or whether they're, in prison, essentially, like they are here in Ferelden. And then there's the Magisterium. Magisters, meanwhile, come from the ranks of the Circle of Magi and the Imperial Chantry. But most hold their seats by virtue of the Archon having granted it to their family long ago. It is not technically required for a Magister to be a mage. Indeed, after the transfiguration that saw the old gods abandoned and Andrastianism embraced, most were not. Since the Towers Age, however, non-mages in the Magisterium have slowly been weeded out. A true Magister is thus a figure of real power in Tevinter. All other mages serve at their pleasure, and any mage not of proper lineage has no influence outside of that which personal wealth and talent provide. From the Ancient North, by Sister Petrine, Chantry Scholar. Yeah, okay, so we caught up on all of that, but yeah, there's a lot of lore, a lot of in-depth world building going on. So yeah, that was a lot. I didn't realize that I was going to have to talk to that guy for like 15 minutes, but it was all very, very valuable stuff. And hey, Solas, how are you?
So we have gained the mages. Excellent.
Let's go this way.
They should be able to seal the breach. You are certain you experienced time travel? Could it have been an illusion? A trick of the Fade?
I mean, I think I'm pretty certain.
Dorian was sure, impossible as it seems.
What an amazing gift. It is vital the Inquisition succeed to avoid the future you witnessed.
And it is kind of weird to imagine what happened to those future guys. They just dead. They're just gone, I guess.
I'm surprised you're not more interested in your own future.
I know enough. If that future happened, then I, and Cassandra, Cullen and the rest, failed to stop this Elder One.
True.
Speaking of which, you should ready yourself.
For?
This Elder One. You have now interfered with his plans twice. Once at the Temple of Sacred Ashes, and now again at Redcliffe. A being who aspires to godhood is unlikely to ignore such an affront.
But why did it... I have more to say, though.
What can I do for you?
What do you know about the Fade?
A great deal, for my wanderings. There are few hard facts, but I can share what I have learned.
I'd like to know more about the breach.
Simply put, it is a tear in the veil between this world and the Fade, allowing spirits to enter the world physically. Small tears occur naturally when magic weakens the veil, or when spirits cluster at an area that has seen many deaths. But your mark allows you to exert some control over the breach. That means it was created deliberately.
I'd like to know more about demons.
The Chantry says that demons hate the natural world and seek to bring their chaos and destruction to the living. But such simplistic labels misconstrue their motivations, and in so doing, do all a great disservice. Spirits wish to join the living, and a demon is that wish gone wrong.
Ah, the wish to join the living gone wrong.
Is there a way to coexist? To live with them? If not in peace, at least without such active confrontation.
Not in the world we know today. The veil creates a barrier that makes true understanding most unlikely. But the question is a good one, and it matters that you thought to ask.
I'd like to know more about the veil.
Circle mages call it a barrier between this world and the Fade. But according to my studies in ancient elven lore, that is a vast oversimplification. Without it, imagine if spirits entered freely. The Fade was not a place one went, but a state of nature like the wind.
Yeah.
We've got enough trouble with demons already.
But would they still be demons? Or would they be part of a natural environment, like a fast-flowing river? Yes, it can drown careless children, but it can also carry a merchant's goods or grind a miller's flour. That is what the world could be if the veil were not present. For better or worse.
That's a weird... That's a strange ideology I'd never heard of before. Spirits and Demons Codex entry. Spirits and Demons. When first I summoned her, she was a rose, unwithering, unchanged, and unthorned, a spirit of the purest love one knows, who never hated, coveted, or scorned. A second time I drew her across the veil, and shared a walk, a dance, a stolen kiss. With such a perfect beauty, pure and pale, no woman could compare, no man resist. Then, in my weakness, I essayed a third, though Magisters their warnings did impart. She broke my binding with a single word, and said this smiling as she clutched my heart. Though love I was, your passion's changing fire has forged this spirit into cruel desire. Sonnet 126. The Lover and His Spirit from A Chant for Dreamers by Magister Horatius. So it seems like this guy summoned a demon and fell in love, but it didn't go well. And maybe he summoned a desire demon. Is probably what happened. So very interesting there. Very. I didn't expect a sonnet when talking about lore, but we've pretty much caught up with almost everybody that we could talk to here in this area. Oh, nope, there is Cassandra. We didn't talk to Cassandra. Okay, so we haven't met with Cullen or Cassandra, so let's meet with them, see if they have anything that they would like to say.
Ready to approach the breach. I pray this will be enough to close it.
One last
Now, I'm sorry, guys. You're going to hear all the clanging and clacking in the background. I wish he was not standing here, but can't really do anything about that. Yeah, all right, so let's see.
I know you're worried about having the mages here. Give them a chance to prove themselves.
I'm not questioning their ability or their intentions, but we cannot ignore the risks. I will not endanger the alliance you've created. We need their help. Any precautions taken will be to ensure the safety of our people and the mages themselves. Nothing more.
You know, it seems to me that the mages would be really people that we would need to depend on for once to help with this fade. I mean, they're the ones that are experts in this whole idea of there being a breach. Like, they would know the most about it more than anybody.
Is there anything I should know?
Not at present.
Why would Templars break away from the Chantry?
The Order believes the Chantry no longer supports their efforts. Not to the extent they should.
But the Templars have served the Chantry for ages.
And in that time, they've come to take the Order's services for granted. Templars risk their lives against blood magic, demons, abominations, to feel as if those efforts are dismissed. I may disagree with the Order's actions, but I'm here as proof of that. But I sympathize with their frustrations.
What do you think of the people you work with?
Who do you mean?
What do you think of our ambassador?
We have little in common. How she delights in meeting with nobles all day is beyond me. But I enjoy working with her.
Okay.
How do you like working with Lilliana?
The Inquisition would not exist without her. I may not always agree with her methods, but she's more passionate about our cause than anyone. Cassandra may have declared the Inquisition publicly, but Lilliana is just as responsible for its formation.
Are you satisfied with the Inquisition's forces?
Our numbers are small, but they suit our needs for the time being. Some Templars have joined us instead of following the Order. They've proven invaluable in training new recruits.
Oh, I imagine.
I should let you get back to work.
Okay, so there's Cullen. Not a lot to talk about, but at least we get just a small idea of what he thinks about the people he works with and this whole thing that's going on.
Now, what are we supposed to do, exactly?
What you always do. Complain.
We've already spoken with Commander Cullen. No one listens. We want better quarters. We want the Templars kept at a distance. And some respect for...
This is not the Circle. You mages are our allies, not our wards. Act like it.
How are we supposed to...
Deal with it.
That camera angle was bad. So they're not getting along.
It never ends, evidently.
Is there an issue with the mages? Can I help?
The mages are here as equals. They need to get used to what that means. It is your doing, after all. You created this alliance.
You would have done differently, I suppose.
Oh. I do sound like I'm blaming you, don't I?
Yeah, kinda.
I don't disapprove. In fact, you did well. You made a decision when it needed to be made. And here we are. I wish I could say this was my doing.
Not really interested in that.
Just remember that after the breach is closed.
I will not forget, though I cannot speak for others.
Okay, where did she go? She's... Oh wait, there's a loot here. I didn't even realize. Not that great a loot though. So was there nothing else to... I'm sure there's more to say to her though. That was just for that cutscene.
May I ask you about the Chantry?
It is difficult to say what becomes of the Chantry now. They have no Templars, no leadership, and no one left who is worthy of succeeding the Divine. It has fallen apart when everyone needs it the most. I ache to think what this will mean in the days to come.
Do you really believe the Chantry is worth preserving?
I do. Though I understand how someone born outside of human society might think otherwise. Cast the Chantry aside and new problems replace old ones. We will have learned nothing from history. The people need stability, and the Chantry needs a new purpose. Andraste had a dream for us. It can still be achieved.
So, what should this new purpose be?
A dedication to what is truly important. Instead of building cathedrals and sewing gowns for the divine, the Chantry used to spend its coin feeding the poor.
Mm-hmm.
To spread the Maker's word across the world, we must do so with open hearts and open hands.
That sounds rather idealistic of you.
Does it? I do not think it's so unachievable. The Chantry has many good, honest people. They just need direction and inspiration. They need to be freed from centuries of adherence to tradition and ceremony. A chance for renewal is at our fingertips. It does not have to come with utter chaos.
What influence does Chancellor Roderick really wield?
He's a bureaucrat, responsible for communicating the Divine's will to the rest of the Chantry. Therefore, he's accustomed to the clerics hanging on his every word, hoping his influence will benefit them. Despite that, Roderick is not a bad man. He's frightened, and believes his place is to fill the gap left by Most Holy's death. Some might agree. As far down the chain of command as he is, there is no one left above him.
How big a problem could he be?
No more than he is already. He sent his message to the College of Clerics. That is the only card he had to play. Dealing with him further only lends him credibility he doesn't deserve.
Will the Chantry replace Divine Justinian?
They will try. Once the priests withdraw for the Grand Consensus, it is against Chantry law for them to emerge without naming a new divine.
Got it.
Sometimes it takes days, or weeks, or even months. The problem now is that no clear successor to Justinia exists. All worthy clerics died.
Right.
So what happens if they can't agree on someone?
Theoretically, they will argue until exhaustion takes them or they see reason. Practically, however, if the Grand Consensus goes on too long, the Chantry will crumble. Any cleric with ambition but little sense will see this as her one chance, and plenty of such clerics.
Oh yeah, they're all going to be clamoring to try to become...
act in the meantime.
They're all going to be clamoring to try to become the next divine.
If they do choose a new divine, will you serve her?
That depends on whether she would have me. I am a rebel now, remember? And even if she would, I do not know. It would depend on what type of divine she is. I am no longer in a position to follow blindly, and no new divine could expect such obedience now.
I'm surprised you rebelled against the Chantry.
I left my own order when they took the wrong path. It is no different. But in neither case did I stop caring. Indeed, I care so much that I feel drastic action is necessary. I suppose history shall one day judge my actions.
Yeah, okay. Right, so we pretty much met and talked with everybody about how they feel, and we got a really good debrief on just the current state of things. We've got a good understanding of the Chantry and this conclave, or sorry, this Inquisition, and just everybody's opinion on this whole ordeal. So that's actually been that was a quite good debrief of lore, especially since it's been so long since I played this game. It's been only like a month, but long enough that I needed that good refresher.
The golden city, the center of all creation.
Let's go ahead and go in here and see if we can talk to what? Oh, I just bumped my head on that. Oh, there's a lore book here, the Chantry hierarchy. The Divine is the titular head of the Chantry, although since the schism split the Imperial Chantry into its own faction, there are now in fact 2 Divines at any one time. One Divine, informally called the White Divine, is a woman housed in the Grand Cathedral in Val Royeaux. The other, known as the Black Divine, is a man housed in the Argent Spire in Minrathos. Neither divine recognizes the existence of the other, and the informal names are considered sacrilegious. No matter the gender, a divine is addressed as Most Holy or Your Perfection. Beneath the rank of divine is the Grand Cleric. Each Grand Cleric presides over numerous chantries and represents the highest religious authority for their religion. They travel to Val Rio when the College of Clerics convenes, but otherwise remain where they are assigned. All Grand Clerics are addressed as Your Grace. Beneath the Grand Cleric is the Mother, or in the Imperial Chantry, the Father. If a mother is in charge of a particular chantry, Reverend is appended to her title. These are the priests responsible for administering the spiritual well-being of their flock. A mother or reverend mother is addressed as Your Reverence. Brothers and sisters from the rank and file of the chantry and consist of 3 main groups: Affirmed, Initiates, and Clerics. Affirmed are the lay brethren of the chantry, those regular folk who have turned to the chantry for succor. Often they are people who have led a difficult or irreligious life and have chosen to go into seclusion, or even orphans and similar unfortunates who were raised in chantry life. The affirmed take care of the chantry and are in turn afforded a life of quiet contemplation, no questions asked. Only those folk who take vows become initiates. These are men and women in training, whether in academic knowledge or the martial skills of a warrior. All initiates receive an academic education, although only those who seek to become Templars learn how to fight in addition. Clerics are those true academics of the chantry, those men and women who have dedicated themselves to the pursuit of knowledge. They are often found in chantry archives, sages presiding over libraries of books and arcane knowledge. The most senior of these clerics, placed in charge of such archives, is given the title of Elder, although such a rank is still beneath that of Mother. All other brothers and sisters are addressed simply by noting their title before their name, such as Brother Genitivi. Well, there you go. So that is a good guide there from a guide for ambassadors from Rivain. This would be a good guide for chantry hierarchy. That's amazing. Very good to know. There's another book in here. Founding of the Chantry. By the way, I think this is pretty much just a big lore episode. The whole video so far has just been lore, lore, lore. So, cool with me. Cordelius Dracon, king of the city-state of Orlais, was a man of uncommon ambition. In the year -15 Ancient, the young king began construction of a great temple dedicated to the Maker, and declared that by its completion, he would not only have united the warring city-states of the south, he would have brought Andrastian belief to the world. And apparently 12 years later, in -3 Ancient, the temple was completed. There, in its heart, Dracon knelt before the eternal flame of Andraste and was crowned ruler of the Empire of Orlais. His first act as emperor, to declare the Chantry as the established Andrastian religion of the Empire. It took 3 years and several hundred votes before Olessa of Montesamard was elected to lead the new Chantry. Upon her coronation as divine, she took the name Justinia, in honor of the disciple who recorded Andraste's songs. In that moment, the ancient era ended, and the divine age began. Wow, so the reason it's called Divine Justinia is because that is the name of the disciple who recorded Andraste's songs. I didn't know that. But that's good to realize why they are all called just Divine Justinia. Makes sense. Very cool, very cool. So lots of good lore today. A schematic. Can I open this? Wait, I can? Oh, what's in here? The little secret room? Oh, it looks like it's just lore. Just a ton of lore. Well, guys, this is a lore episode, so I hope you're enjoying it. The disciples of Andraste are unique in all of history. The The cult preceded the Chantry and kept itself so hidden and isolated that it actually survived to modern day. The disciples made their home high in the Frostback Mountains in a village called Haven, which is actually, crazy enough, that's the village we're in right now, which is now a sanctuary for pilgrims of the Chantry. It is understood that the disciples were descendants of the first followers of Andraste, who brought her ashes to Ferelden and built the temple to house it. Because they had pledged themselves to the keeping of the Temple of Sacred Ashes, the disciples of Andraste never left the Frostbacks. For 900 years, they kept strangers away, killing all who came close, and were completely oblivious to the world that advanced beyond the boundaries of their home. Having developed separately from the traditions of the Andrastian Chantry, the disciples were led by reverend fathers. However, little else is known about the original beliefs of the disciples, for they had turned from the noble heritage by the time they were discovered. Almost all scholars believe that the centuries-long isolation imposed upon the village led to the necessity for inbreeding. This practice likely led to a greater incidence of madness, which may explain why the cult was, at the time of the discovering in 930, worshipping a high dragon. According to writings discovered in Haven, the disciples of Andraste showed reverence to the dragon, believing it to be the prophet reborn. The egg clutches and dragonlings of the dragon were afforded great honor for being Andraste's offering, and were cared for by the cult. The dragon never attacked the cult, being cunning enough to recognize how this arrangement benefited it. In 930 Dragon, the disciples were wiped out by the hero of Ferelden, who was on a quest to retrieve the sacred ashes of Andraste. Yeah. From Before Andrastianism, Forgotten Faiths by Sister Rondwyn of Tantervale. It's crazy because these were the people that descended from the, basically the people that decided they were going to house the sacred ashes of Andraste. So it's crazy to find out that's what actually happened to them. We have another thing here. So the Bride of the Maker. There was once a tiny fishing village on the waking sea that was set upon by the Tevinter Imperium, which enslaved the villagers to be sold in the markets of Minrathos, leaving behind only the old and the infirm. One of the captives was the child, Andraste. She was raised in slavery in a foreign land. She escaped, then made the long and treacherous journey back to her homeland alone. She rose from nothing to be the wife of an Alamari warlord. Each day she sang to the gods, asking them to help her people who remained slaves in Tevinter. The false gods of the mountains and the winds did not answer her, but the true God did. The Maker spoke. She showed her all the works of his hands, the Fade, the world, and all the creatures therein. He showed her how men had forgotten him, lavishing devotion upon mute idols and demons, and how he had left them to their fate. But her voice had reached him, and so captivated him that he offered her a place at his side, that she might rule all of creation. But Andraste would not forsake her people. She begged the Maker to return, to save his children from the cruelty of the Imperium. Reluctantly, the Maker agreed to give man another chance. Andraste went back to her husband, Mefereth, and told him all that the Maker had revealed to her. Together, they rallied the Alamari and marched forth against the mage lords of the Imperium, and the Maker was with them. So basically, this entire religion is just this made-up story that this woman... No, I'm kidding. There's too much evidence that it can't be made up. At least, just the fact that the ashes of Andraste, are so powerful in terms of their magical abilities, and there's just so much that suggests that this is not just a fake religion. And I'm not a lore expert. I'm playing through this for the first time, but I wonder what you guys think. Do you think that it's possible to be atheist? Would it be possible to be atheist in a world like this? It seems like in a world like this, you would not be possible because there seem almost like there's too much real, actual evidence that there is a god, an Andraste, or the Maker. the fact that there's Fade demons and just that alone is enough to think, wow, there's something way bigger than all of us. You know, there's something way bigger. Just the fact that magic exists at all, that's like evidence that there's something way bigger going on than just the natural course of things in laws of nature. The fact that the laws of physics could be suspended by magic that's enough to be like, okay, there's something going on here. There's probably, you know, the maker or something that you know, caused all of this crazy stuff to be able to happen. But anyway, let's keep reading. The Maker's sword was creation itself, fire and blood, famine and earthquake. Everywhere they went, Andraste sang to the people of the Maker, and they heard her. The ranks of Andraste's followers grew until they were a vast tide washing over the Imperium. And when Mefarath saw that the people loved Andraste and not him, a worm grew within his heart, gnawing upon it. This is when he basically betrays her. At last, the armies of Andraste and Mefarath stood before the very gates of Minrathos, but Andraste was not with them. For Mefarath had schemed in secret to hand Andraste over to the Tevinter. For this, the Archon would give Mefarath all the lands to the south of the Waking Sea. Wow. And so, before all the armies of the Alamari and of Tevinter, Andraste was tied to a stake and burned, while her earthly husband turned his armies aside and did nothing, for his heart had been devoured. My God, that's terrible. But as he watched the pyre, the Archon softened. He took pity on Andraste and drew his sword and granted her the mercy of a quick death. The Maker wept for his beloved, cursed Mefarath, cursed mankind for their betrayal, and turned once again from creation, taking only Andraste with him. And Our Lady sits still at his side, where she still urges him to take pity on his children. From the sermons of Justinian II. Wow, that's an incredibly sad story, and it kind of, it makes me choke up a little bit. Like, damn, what a story. So there's the loot. Is there anything? Dawn Lotus, a rare herb and a common herb. And then one more, the Black City. No traveler to the Fade can fail to spot the Black City. Is one of the few constants of that ever-changing place. No matter where one might be, the city is visible, always far off, for it seems that the only rule of geography in the Fade is that all points are equidistant from the Black City. Okay, well that doesn't make any sense. Unless everything is a giant circle around it. The Chantry teaches that the Black City was once the seat of the Maker, from whence he ruled the Fade. Left empty when men turned away from him. Dreamers did not go there, nor do spirits. Even the most powerful demons seemed to avoid the place. It was golden and beautiful once, so the story goes, until a group of powerful Magister Lords from the Tevinter Imperium devised a means of breaking in. When they did so, their presence defiled the city, turning it black, which was, perhaps, the least of their worries. From beyond the veil, spirits of demons by Enchanter Mirdramel. Yes, when I do enter the Fade, I have seen it off in the distance, the Black City. Very mysterious looking place. I would love to go to the Black City one day. That would be really cool if we could go to the Black City somehow in these games. For all I know, maybe we can go to the Black City here even in this game. But I'm going to continue down this little hallway and see if there's anything else. Oh, there's a note here. Misplaced notes. Notes written by one of the scholars responsible for restoring Haven. The notes have obviously come loose from a ledger of some sort. It took weeks scrubbing bloodstains from the stone. One of two things is true. Either stone is more porous than I thought, or Maker's beard. There must have been a lot of blood. How many people died? I'm so relieved I didn't have to deal with the altars of sacrifice the first arrivals found. Those were tossed off a cliff, I think. So now we just have to deal with the stains on the walls and floors. If this doesn't clean up in a day or two, I'm asking for some fresh plaster. Maybe we can cover them up. Still, it's not all bad. Haven is a beautiful place, and while working in the dungeons, we found scraps of paper with writing that looks like Brother Ferdinand Genetivi's. He was held here for weeks before the hero of Ferelden found him. Oh, wow. Alright, so we just did a little bit of exploring, and we found a lot of other good lore that I had missed before. Okay, so we definitely want to talk to Mother Giselle as well.
I understand you were instrumental in garnering the assistance of the rebel mages. It is well done. And I pray this Inquisition fares better than the Chantry in its handling of magic.
Well,
You disapprove of something the Chantry did? Are you allowed to do that?
That largely depends upon one's company. While surrounded by those declared heretics already, I am safe enough. In some ways, Andraste had the simpler task. Magic should serve man, and not rule over him. That tells us what should be, but it does not tell us how to get there. So many times the methods of men have undone the spirit of their goals. Once you have sealed the breach, we shall see whether this Inquisition is truer to the Chantry, or its own namesake.
Do you know
I'm curious what she's going to say to this.
the next divine?
It is a difficult decision. All the obvious candidates perished with Divine Justinia at the Conclave. The Grand Clerics are terrified of the Inquisition. They will not decide soon, and I fear they will not decide wisely. Whoever is chosen needs the Inquisition's support. No one else seems likely to seal the breach.
Can you tell me how our people are doing?
What would you like to know?
How are the villagers in Haven doing?
You did well to gain the mages to your cause. The people have hope that the breach may be sealed. Some of them are returning to the lives they fled. Others are starting fresh. In either case, they no longer believe the world as they know it is ending.
Do you have information on people elsewhere?
The refugees in the hinterlands are desperate. Without help, starvation or war will claim many lives. Villagers in Crestwood are besieged by their own dead. They have sent word begging for assistance. People are vanishing in the hills of Emprise de Lyon. It may be demons or something worse, but they are terrified. More than that I cannot say. It is a chaotic time for all in Olay and Ferelden.
Okay.
Farewell.
Make her go with you.
And you as well. She's doing a good job of making sure everybody's taken care of.
I'll take my leave. Good day.
Who is she, Ambassador?
A merchant. I thought we should reach out to the dwarves to secure lyrium for the Inquisition's mages. According to it raised the ire of the Chantry.
How?
Access to lyrium makes us rather more formidable than anticipated. We're becoming a challenge. Sadly, the remaining Grand Clerics appear to be consolidating the Chantry's power instead of comforting the masses.
Mage circles started falling years ago. The Chantry was troubled even before the Divine's murder.
Yet many people continue to bear it great love. We will not benefit from its decline. Little but the Chantry ties Orlais, Nevarra, Ferelden, Antiva, and even Rivain to a common cause.
Has the Chantry truly promoted such peace?
Andraste's chant is familiar across kingdoms, a source of many shared customs. That is the crucial point. Common ground is the start of all negotiations.
So if everyone listens to the chant, things will be smooth as silk.
I did say commonality is merely a beginning, but it's an important one. We must learn to think beyond our own wants to secure peace in Thedas.
The Inquisition will have plenty of time for that between finding the Divine's murderer and sealing the breach.
Busy as we are, I do have a question for you, if you've a moment. The remaining Grand Clerics sent a missive inquiring about the events at the Temple of Sacred Ashes. They demand to know whether the Inquisition officially claims that Andraste saved you from the breach. If it were up to you, how would you reply?
Oh God, this decision. So that was actually the very first little cutscene. Who was that saved me from that explosion? I believe. I think that it was Andraste. Me personally. But it's strange though because this character didn't believe in Andraste at first, but maybe she's converting.
I'd tell the Chantry that Andraste herself shielded me from harm.
I'd truly like to hear the debates that would raise in Val Royeaux. Thank you for your thoughts. A good day to you.
I think she's slowly going to convert. Because of everything that's happening, it's hard to not convert with everything that's been going on. But I did want to speak to Justinia.
What do the people make of us?
Despite our fame, we're low on steadfast allies. We must aim for more.
Mm-hmm.
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
Lady Drummond promised a visit. She has useful resources if we can get her to set aside her games.
What are her politics?
Oh, no, I meant actual games. Chess, cards, dice, little boards with carved idols from Tevinter. She made me play that with her for 8 hours once. Steer her towards cards, if she insists on a match.
I'd rather play chess. Chess is one of my favorite. Is there anything for me to turn in? Bowstrings removed, 3.
Please tell me if you find something.
Okay. Is there anything to speak about with her?
Some fascinating things. We're putting them to good use.
Oh, wow. Damage against humanoids? Oh, what? Look at all this. Shade, archers, wolf fangs removed.
I'll speak with you later.
Thank you again for what you've brought back.
Absolutely. I've brought back a bunch of stuff, apparently. If we look at creatures, there's been an update to archers. Researched. Damage against humanoids increased. Oh, so there you go. By doing this research, I've now actually gained, and I noticed there's 2 little orange diamonds in the top right. I think that means like I researched something about it. The shades. My damage against demons has increased. Wow, that's really, really cool. Nice. Very cool. All right, so finally, I feel like we've caught up with just about everyone after we've garnered the mage's support. That was really awesome. And next is to go into the War Council. So let's go in there really quick just to see if there's anything that can be done before I end this episode. Okay, so I guess we'll increase our forces. A methodology developed by an Orlesian blade master and used by the Chevaliers to analyze their own performance in combat. 5% increase in experience gained from killing foes. Sure, let's get that. Wait a minute. I can only have 1 at a time? Oh no, I feel like I don't understand this. This one's locked. I thought I had that one already. Now it's gone. Dang it. Okay, well, if we go to the Ferelden side here, there is a report ready for the Tyrant of High Ever. Just a reminder for what this was. Ambassador Montelier, the Inquisition emissaries were a welcome addition to our vigil. That's right, because I sent the emissaries. As a token of my thanks, I am sending Ferelden arms for your troops. Ooh! May the Maker grant you never need them. Ferelden Captain Longsword. Well, there you go. So let's go ahead and try to complete some more of these things here. What is this? Secure a route through the Frostbacks. We explored the fallow mire after you cleared the place out. I've stumbled on an old road that leads west to the Frostbacks. If it's cleared up, You could use it to shave weeks off a journey through the mountains. I'd rather be wet than freezing. Sure, let's go ahead and do that. I guess we can send Cullen, because I feel like if you're going to clear out a route in the Frostbacks, you probably need some force. It says we could move troops east to west without risking the mountains. Let's keep this road for our soldiers. They can repair it. Merchants would give a great deal for this route. They'd reward us handsomely for the location of the road. Or an unknown road, it would be perfect for our spies. If it remains secret, we can have my people clear the way. Dang it. Now this makes it's more about who does the road go to? To the merchants, to the spies, or to the soldiers? Maybe having it secret is probably the biggest advantage. I feel like that's probably the biggest advantage you can have. But there's also getting money. I'm gonna go with the secret. I feel like that's gonna be...
Let's see what we have.
That's gonna be the best one. That's gonna be 15 minutes in progress there. Gather coin. Let's go ahead and do that. It is gonna take... oh, busy on another mission. I can't have more... Oh, no, I can. Oh, shit. I didn't realize I could do one of each. Okay. Let's go ahead and do Josephine for this one. And then let's go ahead and do another one. Rescue soldiers missing in Ferelden. Oh, that's already completed. Okay. Got it. These are completed. So let's do this one here. Scout the Storm Coast. And it looks like secrets. Wardens are reclusive, but not intractable. If there are signs of their passage on the Storm Coast, my agents will find them. Ferelden has not seen significant Grey Warden activity since Darkspawn attacked the city of Amaranthine 10 years ago. It's not unusual for their order to fade from public notice when there's no blight. However, recent reports claim that a group was traveling along the northern coastline. Wardens tend to follow their own agenda. But the breach has no doubt caught their attention. If they know something, then the Inquisition should find out. Well, there you go. So we are going to scout the Storm Coast. This is a new area. Sister Lilliana, Lieutenant Harding, led a small complement of soldiers to the Storm Coast region to investigate reports of Grey Warden activity. She sent word that her party had established a camp near the shore, but we have received nothing further. At this time, the status of Harding and her mission remains unknown. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the Storm Coast. That will be our next location. I enjoy having Blackwall. I also enjoy having Dorian, and Solas is also good. So let's confirm that, and we're gonna head to the Storm Coast, guys. Really, pretty excited because I know we did need to go to the Storm Coast due to one of the quests that we have. It was part of one of the quests that was suggested to us that we were supposed to do.
Your worship, for what it's worth, welcome to the Storm Coast. I would have sent word sooner, but our efforts have been delayed.
How so?
There's a group of bandits operating in the area. They know the terrain, and our small party has had trouble going up against them. Some of our soldiers went to speak with their leader. Haven't heard back, though.
Oh, okay. So some of our soldiers went to speak with their leader and haven't heard back.
I'll do what I can to find our people.
Thank you, your worship. That's a relief. The soldiers didn't have an exact location for the bandits, but they were starting their search farther down the beach. With all this fuss, we haven't been able to conduct a proper search for the wardens either. Well, good luck, and enjoy the sea air. I hear it's good for the soul.
All right, we are now on the Storm Coast. We're finally in a new area. What the? Did you hear that? I swear I think I heard a dragon. I'm almost certain I just now heard a dragon right there. Wow. Okay, so we're in a new area. I just want to look at the quest map. Oh, okay, there's not much to see. There is a lot going on here. Seeing red. Lots of seeing red. Okay, we're going to have to get rid of all this lyrium that's here in this area. There's Wardens of the Coast. Yeah, signs of the Wardens. We have to look for them. There's a few camps. Memories of the Grey. What is the Memories of the Grey? There's 2 quests right there on top of each other. Blackwall possesses maps that chart old Warden camps. Oh, I see. Got it. Okay, so there's a lot to do here, and in our journal, if we just look at the Storm Coast, there is rifts on the coast. I think it was in the Inner Circle that someone suggested. And then we see right there, Captain of the Chargers, meet Iron Bull at the Storm Coast. So we needed to go here because we needed to do this quest here. So we'll go and explore this area next episode, and we'll look for this Captain of the Chargers, because someone did say I should really try to complete the Inner Circle stuff. So I will soon. I'll do them as I can, and we'll also try to complete all of these as well. So anyway, you have news.
What is it?
See for yourself, sir.
What? See for myself. Salvage ships? Huh. Okay, it's probably something we've got to inspect here. This one right here. A number of ships washed up on the shores of the Storm Coast. They could be salvaged for use by the Inquisition. Okay, we'll definitely go after those boats, and next episode we'll do a lot of stuff here in the Storm Coast. We'll explore the whole damn area, basically. But anyway, I just want to say today was mostly a lore episode. There was lots and lots and lots of lore we caught up on. It was basically over an hour and a half of, well, not all of that is going to be in the final cut, but mostly just wandering around Haven, talking to different people in the camp, asking them their opinion of having the mages now on our side for the Inquisition, and learning also about the Chantry and, the Tevinter Imperium and all of that. Really good lore episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy the next episode where we will be investigating this place for the first time for me. So anyway, thank you all for joining. I hope you had a good time, and I will see you next time.